What is up, everyone, and welcome to a very special edition of The Danny Show. I'm your host, Daniel Cody, giving you commentary and reviews on all things wrestling. Thank you guys so much for watching. Tonight, Friday Night SmackDown comes to us live from Brooklyn, New York at the Barclays Center. And there have been a lot of historic moments and matches in that arena as well as in the city of Brooklyn. So, I would like to come here, as usual, and give you some of my top 10 favorite matches from the city of Brooklyn, New York at the Barclays Center. And also, be sure to check out my top 10 favorite matches from New York City. That is also up. Be sure to check that out right across the bridge from Brooklyn. But let's get into it. At number 10, we start with Big E versus Roman Reigns back when he had that exact championship at Survivor Series 2021 when the pandemic had finally slowed down. And everyone was back in the audience. And this was a traditional champion versus champion of Raw and SmackDown, as WWE since 2016 had made it a thing of SmackDown versus Raw, kind of like the video games. Now, in this match, it was a good match, and it was the main event. Big E being the WWE World Heavyweight Champion, Roman Reigns being the Universal Champion. And this was a match, and it was pretty good to watch, in my personal opinion. We saw the best moves of Roman and Big E. Big E bringing in his big ending, but it wasn't enough to keep Roman down. And, of course, Roman went for a spear after finding out that Big E had a bad leg. So Big E was very competitive, but a bad leg caused him the match to lose. However, I must point out that I really enjoyed the part where Roman Reigns was posing to prepare for his spear. And as soon as he looked up, there was Big E right there standing there. That was one of my favorite parts of that match. Next on this list, we have, at number 9, we have the late, great Bray Wyatt, God rest his soul, versus Dean Ambrose, now known as the very sick and twisted Jon Moxley, who is kind of out there, choking people almost to death with bags. I hope Bryan Danielson comes back someday. Now, moving forward, this was a good match back when he was Dean Ambrose. You know something I would have loved to have seen? I would have loved to see the Extreme Jon Moxley from AEW versus The Fiend. That would have been awesome to see. But now we got Dean Ambrose versus Bray Wyatt at TLC 2014 in the main event, and it was pretty good. We saw a lot of tables breaking, as Ambrose went for, I believe, 3 elbow drops off of a ladder onto Bray Wyatt through tables. But of course, Dean Ambrose, in his own crazy ways, would be his own worst enemy, as he was looking to use a TV to hit Bray Wyatt, but it electrocuted him halfway, and it helped Bray Wyatt capitalize for the victory and win the main event. Next on this list, we have at number 8, the very next year, at SummerSlam 2015, we have the main event of The Undertaker versus Brock Lesnar, before Brock was making a whole bunch of bad choices. But in any event, Brock Lesnar and The Undertaker clashed in a WrestleMania 30 rematch that would be the main event of SummerSlam. It was amazing. No one has ever attacked The Undertaker like that during an entrance. Not in Live to talk about it. But nonetheless, we saw that happen. The build-up for the match was awesome. Undertaker had made a habit of becoming the soul chaser in a... I hope this is not profane to say, but how do I say this without being profane? let's just say the Undertaker was a soul chaser and a egg cracker, egg buster, the soul chasing egg buster, because he had gone low on Brock many times, and it helped build this match up. But one of my favorite parts about this match, you can't talk about Undertaker versus Brock Lesnar without talking about the very famous scene where Brock Lesnar was laughing at the Undertaker, and the Undertaker sat up and had an incredible moment, as Michael Cole called it, when the Undertaker mockingly laughed back at Brock Lesnar. That has become a meme. Undertaker's laugh that night became one of the biggest memes to this day. Nonetheless, after the Undertaker uniquely tapped out where the ref couldn't see him, the timekeeper won the bell. The ref didn't call for the bell, giving the Undertaker a chance to go low and choke Brock Lesnar out with the Hell's Gate, even though Brock Lesnar tried to be defiant and go for Stone Cold's finger gesture. But the Undertaker won. Earlier that night at number 7, we have John Cena versus Seth Rollins for the WWE. John Cena and Seth Rollins for the WWE World Championship as well as the US Championship. Seth was the WWE Champion. Cena was the US Champion, and it was a unification match. And last time we saw some unification matches, one of them was DDP and Kanyon versus the Brothers of Destruction in a steel cage match at SummerSlam 01. But in this unification match, Seth Rollins came out all in white as if he really did think he was a messiah. He wasn't doing that angle yet. But the fans were actually more into Seth than they were into Cena, and Seth was the heel. And on top of that, Jon Stewart got involved, and Jon Stewart had been picked on by Seth. You would think he was going for Seth, but he went for Cena. And because of that, Seth Rollins capitalized to the loud pop of the crowd and was double champion. Cena got his championship back at Night of Champions, and the very next night got revenge on Jon Stewart. Next at number 7, we go back 24 hours in time to Sasha Banks versus Bayley at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 1. This would be the first of 4 NXT TakeOver Brooklyns before SummerSlams, and this match did not disappoint. It was dubbed one of the first of 2 main events that night, the other being Demon Finn versus Kevin Owens in a ladder match. This match did not disappoint at all. And not only was this match so great, but it really helped in redefining, as Trish versus Lita did in 2004. This match also helped redefine how female wrestlers were looked, which I really like, because personally, I don't want those bra and panty matches. Ugh. Now, I know Jerry Lawler was going crazy at the announce table every time, but I'm really happy about this match because it was an epic match that showed that women can be athletes without having to show their skin off to do something crazy. And besides, it's almost November anyway. Everyone's about to fast. But in any event, this was an amazing match. Sasha was the champion with a great entrance that is more expensive than Byron Saxon's house. Bayley was the contender and challenger, and it was a great match. Bayley would win the match and gain the NXT Women's Championship, and 2/4 of the horsewomen would all stand in the ring, that being Sasha, Bayley, as well as Charlotte and Becky would all stand together in the ring together, showing respect as the 4 horsewomen of WWE. Next, we have the very next year, we have at number 5, AJ Styles versus John Cena in an epic clash at SummerSlam 2016, a rematch for Money in the Bank because the ending was controversial. The match was good, but the ending was not good because OC interfered. However, in this match, there were no interferences, there were no bad judgments, and there was no crooked calls. Just two guys going head to head, and in the end, the phenomenal one, AJ Styles, would independently become victorious. Once again, the crowd was more into AJ Styles than babyface Cena, although Cena had his supporters as well. The match was great. Also, in my personal opinion, besides Seth versus Finn, match of 2016 SummerSlam. Orton versus Brock was just bloody and controversial. Next, at number 4, we go 2 years forward to NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 2018. This would be Tommaso Ciampa as the NXT champion versus Johnny Gargano in a last man standing match. Great match. It was awesome to watch. Both men brought their best moves. However, Johnny Gargano made one mistake when he once again had Tommaso Ciampa handcuffed. I don't think Tommaso likes handcuffs. So if he's looking to spice his marriage up, don't bring handcuffs. But in any event, Tommaso was handcuffed to the stage equipment on the outside. Gargano went for the running knee to take him down, but he did damage to himself. And because of the damage that he did to himself, he was unable to answer the 10 count, as at the last minute of a great match, Tommaso Ciampa got to his feet while handcuffed, even though Gargano was still down with a hurt knee. Again, Tommaso Ciampa would retain the NXT Championship in a last man standing. Next, at number 7, we go to SummerSlam 2017 in Brooklyn. This was the main event of SummerSlam, and it was a fatal 4-way match between Brock Lesnar, Braun Strowman, Samoa Joe, and Roman Reigns. One of the heaviest fatal 4-way matches of all time. And of course, the highlight of this was Braun Strowman putting Brock Lesnar through 2 tables and dumping the 3rd table on top of him. We were almost sure we were going to crown a new champion, but it was not to be, because eventually, after Braun Strowman's destruction on the other 2 competitors, Brock Lesnar fought his way through officials who tried to convince him to just let it go. He came back and refused to lose his Universal Championship, fighting off everyone and giving Roman Reigns the F5 to win the match. The next 2 matches take place at NXT TakeOver New York 2019, and may I say, this was one of the best NXT takeovers ever. And the only other NXT that would be at the top favorite is NXT TakeOver Portland 2020 before the pandemic. But New York 2019, right before WrestleMania 35, was awesome. And I'm going to tell you in 2 matches why. Because at number 2, we start with Walter, now known as Gunther, versus Pete the Finger Snapping Dunne in a match for the NXT UK Heavyweight Championship. 2 guys came all the way from the United Kingdom to NXT America to fight for the championship, and it was an epic clash. Pete Dunne was one of the longest reigning NXT champions in UK history, but that night belonged to Walter, aka Gunther, with a splash off the top and a 1-2-3. This match was hard-hitting, and of course, with everything Gunther does, another chapter in his page of the Red Chest Diaries. Not erotic at all about that, just pain. At number 1, we have Johnny Gargano versus Adam Cole, baby, for the vacated NXT Championship at NXT TakeOver New York 2019, the main event. As if Walter and Pete Dunne couldn't have done any greater still in the show, this match did. Speaking of Adam Cole, did we just witness kayfabe trafficking last night? MJF got a massage by some woman named Natalia. No, not the wrestler. But MJF got a massage from a girl named Natalia. And I'm just wondering. And he even mentioned having a happy ending. Isn't that illegal? I don't know. Y'all, I could be wrong, but I don't know anything about that stuff. But last I heard, I thought that stuff was illegal to ask for a happy ending. But assuming we did not witness trafficking on AEW, kayfabe trafficking, on this list, Adam Cole and Johnny Gargano were two crowd favorites, even though Adam Cole was heel. Johnny Gargano had went back face, and Tommaso Ciampa with a neck injury vacated the title. So it was a 2 out of 3 falls. Obviously, Adam Cole got the first one. The last 2 were won by submission. And despite the Undisputed Era's interference, Adam Cole was unable to successfully defeat Johnny Gargano. Johnny would win the vacated NXT Championship and break the jinx of losing in Brooklyn and also win another takeover match at NXT. 2 in a row, which is very important because Gargano hadn't been winning a lot of NXT matches on takeovers. So that was a very important one. And at the end, as he celebrated with his family and his wife Candice LeRae, Tommaso Ciampa came out at the end of the show to shake hands and hug both Gargano and Candice LeRae and congratulate Gargano on winning the NXT Championship. Now, fun fact, Gargano is an NXT Grand Slam winner. So, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What was your favorite NXT TakeOver match from Brooklyn or favorite match from Brooklyn? I'm your host, Dan Cody. That's all the time I have for you tonight, and I'll be back with another review on all things wrestling. And enjoy SmackDown. I hope Jey Uso joins the Bloodline, and I hope The Rock gets in as well to take on Bloodline 2.0. Just like that. I hope so. See you later.